Stranger Things has become one of the most popular American shows ever to be aired on Netflix, and this popularity is largely due to the show's talented cast. It's safe to say that the cast has successfully grasped their characters and have done a great job playing them the past 3 seasons, but some characters are definitely more lovable than others. So today we're going to walk you through a list of Stranger Things' most loved and most hated characters. But before we continue, make sure you like this video and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from us. Let's begin. Firstly, Billy's dad. If you've seen the show, you probably know that Billy's dad is not a lovable character at all. That's right, I'm starting with the most hated characters first. Billy's dad is an abusive alcoholic who beats up his son and orders him around all night. He has no respect for his son's privacy, treats him like a servant. You probably remember how he ordered Billy to babysit Max, even though Billy had other plans, and shoved him into a wall when Billy refused to search for Max. And since he's verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive, there's no excuse for Mr. Mayfield's hate-filled, slur-spewed attacks. He's a totally garbage character with no redeeming quality. His new wife must already be regretting their marriage, and I feel so sorry for Max because her new stepdad is a terrible man. But with Billy gone, maybe his dad will turn over a new leaf and treat Max with love and respect. Secondly, Lonnie Byers. Even though the show features good dads like Hopper, it does have its fair share of bad dads too. So the most second hated character is Lonnie Byers. Even though Lonnie Byers doesn't get a lot of screen time, we know exactly who he is. Will's dad abandoned the Byers family and starts a new one of his own. And when Joyce called him to tell his son had disappeared in the first season, he didn't seem too concerned either. Not just this, but when news of Will's alleged death spread, he pretended to provide some momentary fleeting comfort. But Joyce discovered that he was only consoling the family in an attempt to squeeze a few dollars out of tragedy. After that, she rightfully sent him packing, and the show hasn't looked back since. If the show ever brings him back, he's going to need a massive mea culpa to be anything other than a cautionary tale about how not to be a horrible absentee father. Thirdly, Mr. Wheeler. If we're talking about bad dads, I think it's important to mention Mr. too. Even though Nancy's dad wasn't abusive or dangerous, he was definitely absent, and this makes him one of the worst characters on the show. He never knows where any of his children are, and he's a pretty terrible husband. Mrs. Wheeler almost had an affair with Billy, and I don't blame her. But even though Mr. Wheeler's apathy seems relatively harmless, he follows in the line of 80s movie dads who seem to have absolutely no idea what's going on in the lives of their children. All we're asking for is a little more attention from Mike and Nancy, who you may have noticed have gone through quite a lot of rough times in the past 3 seasons. Billy Mayfield. I'm going to include Billy in the middle of this because he started off as one of the most hated characters, but he slowly transitioned into a protagonist role. But we can't deny, even though he was extremely good looking, Billy was an aggressive and obnoxious bully. He came from California with his dad, a new stepmom, who's also Max's mother. We can hate Billy for a lot of reasons. He was bafflingly unable to fasten his shirts except for the bottom button, and he's possibly racist. The list doesn't end there. Billy treats his stepsister like dirt and also tenderizes Steve's face with fists. But since it was revealed that Billy had been abused by his own father, people have been feeling a little more sympathetic towards him. Also, he might push Max around, but he's always there to protect her, so we gotta give him points for that. Becky Eyes. If you've seen season 2, you probably know about Becky's brief character, and even though she's not the most loved character, she isn't the most hated one either. It's clear that Becky means well, and she actually helps Levin quite a bit when they find each other. She does her best to help her niece, who randomly shows up at her doorstep. She also takes care of her sister, who has gone through some serious trauma. But Becky's character holds a lot of potential, and she's also deeply connected to Elle's past. After all, she's Elle's only family on the show, so we really do want to see more of her in season 4. But we don't know if that's happening anytime soon, since season 4 is still in the works, and the Byers family has moved out of Hawkins and have taken Elle with them. Maybe Becky's going to be reunited with her niece soon. Dart. Dustin's Demogorgon pet Dart might be an evil character, but everybody still loves him. I mean, sure, he's from the Upside Down, and he's probably controlled by the Mind Flayer, but Dart is a cute pet. Plus, all he requires is a healthy diet of nougat, and all the nutrient-rich animals that can be found in this world. Wild animals shouldn't be shamed for their special dietary needs, and that's why they shouldn't be kept as pets. So even though he killed Muse, nobody blames him for that. Another important reason why Dart is widely loved is because he saved Dustin's life when Elle and Hopper were fighting off the Mind Flayer in season 2. 11. It's quite impossible to have a list of the most loved characters in Stranger Things and not have 11 on it. The mute force of nature we met in season 1 has finally started to reveal her personality, and watching her struggle with her frustration while also discovering what having real parent feels like gave season 2 some of its most emotional moments. She's also grappling with her feelings for Mike and the trauma she underwent at Hawkins' lab. Out of all the characters in the show, Elle went through the most traumatic incidents, including Hopper's alleged death at the end of season 3, but she still tries her best to be a normal kid and do what's right. But now that she's moved away from Mike and most of the other gang, who knows what season 4 has in store for her? Paul Reiser. Dr. Paul Reiser is an excellent character and also one of the most loved ones on the show. First of all, he's actually a nice guy, which is difficult to expect from anyone who's in charge of Hawkins' lab. Also, it's important to remember that when he came in, he was Papa's replacement, but in season 2, we all grew to trust Dr. Paul, and the poor guy's definitely just here to fix what Matthew Modine's character messed up in season 1. He also helped Hopper or adopt Eleven at the end of the season so she would stay protected, so he's clearly just trying to help. Dr. Paul Reiser is a welcome presence in Stranger Things, and we can't wait to see more of in season 4. Joyce. It's difficult not to include Mommy Joyce in this list of most lovable characters on this show. She's a fantastic mom who's always there for her children and goes to crazy lengths just to protect them. Joyce could have easily ended up being your stereotypical TV mom crying over her lost son, but she surprised everyone when she refused to give up on Will back in season 1, and then did whatever it took to restore his soul in season 2. But what makes her character really special is how much she trusts her kid. Even though she's an adult, Joyce will believe her kid in an instant if he tells her a monster is coming through the wall. Winona Ryder brought a fierce nuance to the character, and it's clear that no one could have done a better job than her. Steve is definitely one of the most loved characters on the show. Like Billy, he also had a great redemption arc, but he lived long enough to actually turn over to the good side. Steve went from a really annoying bully to an older brother figure that helped the kids throughout the season, and watching him fling that nail-studded baseball bat was a real treat throughout the show. What makes him one of the most lovable characters is his sense of duty to protect others, even if they've wronged him. Add to that his dating and hair mentorship of young Dustin, and you'll know exactly why King Steve is one of the best characters on the show. Erica. One of the best characters on the show is Erica. That's right, the others might be heroes and Demogorgon fighters, but nobody has Erica's sass. Sitting there mocking her older brother Lucas by having his dolls make out and repeatedly calling him nerd, Erica cuts through the third season's self-seriousness with her humor. She's also the perfect strong female representation in the show, because even though she's still a child, that girl can move mountains if she wants to. The show might give us more Erica in season 4, and that's the best news we've heard all year. And that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.